Tolerators. This is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with Natalie, your weekly look at everyday misogyny. Today, we are lucky enough to have Samantha Bessudo Drucker joining the team. Samantha is a best-selling author, image consultant, and media personality who turned her personal journey into her book, 90 Days to Husband Number 2. She's here today to talk to us about her book, how misogyny affects marriages, and what we should think about should we find ourselves prepping for marriage number 2. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you so much for having me today on your show.
No problem. Thank you so much for being here. I just gave a lot of background information for the listeners, but if you would like to talk about what got you interested in turning your journey into a book, I'm sure they'd love to hear it.
Sure. My journey was that I got divorced, and it was tragic for me. And then I evolved and spent some time as a single gal again, and got to know myself at a new age bracket and in a new life, and to live independently and explored things. And then I thought, I might like to share my life with somebody again, but you can only get married the first time, you promise forever, and then you get divorced. So the word forever has changed for you. Forever. The vernacular of the word has changed. So I thought I would like to spend my life, the remaining years with another person, if I could find the right person. I was open to the idea, but I had my own plans. I was going to leave the country and open up a business somewhere else. And then a friend of mine, I write a column for divagalsdaily.com, and she called me and said that she wanted me to cover a dating app that was launching on Fashion Week. So I did. And would I interview Joseph Shapiro, who's the godfather of all internet dating? We owe it to him when he created JDate, which was the first. And then he created one for every demographic he could think of, and then sold the whole thing to like eHarmony or Mattress. And so I interviewed the man, and I found him amazing. And he said he had retired, and then some kids, millennials wanted an app. So he made an app, and that's what he was launching. And I thought, well, that's cool. You want the next generation to find each other. And I dig that. I dig what you're doing. So I will match your mitzvah with a mitzvah. I'll match your good deed with a good deed. And this is your chance to put your chutzpah where your app is. And I passed him my phone, and I said, hook me up, and I will give you not a blurb, not a page, but 90 days worth of coverage. And I will go on your app, and I will either find my husband in 90 days, or I will leave the country and start a new life.
Wow.
So those 90 days worth of articles about the dating process, and my 20 years as an image consultant working with at least 60% to 70% sometimes male clients, and teaching them how to look for the right person. And I helped their dating game. I was the original Hitch on Wall Street. And I cleaned them up and gave them a spit shine, taught them how to behave like a human being on a date, and asked them to, ask themselves more intelligent questions rather than to just tell me they wanted Barbie with a PhD. So I had a wonderful window into the minds of men, but I've been helping people for 20 years become the best version of themselves so that they can live their best life. And in doing so, and being clear about what they want and what we were trying to achieve, attract the right person for them.
That's awesome. When you were working with men and their images and what they wanted in dating, could you see patterns within their behavior that you were like, that was more socially conditioned into you and not maybe actually something you thought about?
Well, of course. So let's talk about sex, shall we?
We do.
No. So men are taught to hunt and be aggressive and make all the moves, and they're allowed, because they're boys, so they don't get pregnant, so nobody worries about them. They are allowed to roam free, and they do. And women, we have to worry about getting pregnant and not being called a slut and all this other baggage that we're ladled with by by the patriarchy. And so, one, you have a lot of people getting married to each other for all the wrong reasons. You have people getting married too young, especially these days. You have people who then find themselves at 30, just when it's time to be making a baby, thinking, I want to get a divorce. And then by the time you roll around to the idea of husband number two, you are perhaps even a decade older or more. And now, so we also, as women, are ladled down, literally baggaged down with this biological clock. We have so much that we can reproduce for, and that's it. And now we have all kinds of weird science, and we can do all kinds of things. But still, even if, let's say, I had, like, the science is crazy and I could have a baby at 60. Well, you can't, but let's say you can. Do I want to leave this earth at 80 with a child who's 20? You think a 20-year-old can fend for themselves in this insane world as it is right now? I wouldn't want to leave a human being behind who wasn't, like, who still was exploring, who's still learning, still growing. I mean, a couple hundred years ago, we only lived till 40. So, it was a different mindset. You had to get married when you were, 12, 13, 14, 15, because, you were ready to go, and your parents could make either peace with the next village or some income by selling you.
Correct. Yes, that is always a great reminder about, like, literally marriage started as just like a social political gain for your family. Like, it was an institution designed by men to further their power with the female children that they didn't know what to do with.
But also, as a woman, even if, let's say, you didn't need a man to make a baby, but, like, if you didn't need, now you don't need a man to make a baby, but
honestly,
back then they didn't have the technology we now have. So let's put the man aside for a moment. Let's say you're a woman that wants kids. There are women like that. There are women that they know from the time they can walk that they want to be a mommy, that they want to make babies, that they want to have a family. So a couple hundred years ago, the chances of the survival of your offspring was pretty low. Measles and malaria and all kinds of stuff, right? Like all these mumps and, I don't know, typhoid flu and all the things that babies used to die of that they don't die of now. So you would have, like, several. And maybe you died in childbirth. So to keep the human species going, the idea was to have babies. And considering that maybe some of your offspring wouldn't make it, you might want to have a few more, so that if a couple die, you still have a couple. Like, maybe that was partly the mindset as well. And then you got into agriculture. And of course, then you want a big family, so then you have more hands to take care of the farm. There's so many reasons that we find ourselves in the modern world being able to, as women, we get to vote, we get to drive, we get to work if it amuses us, we get to go to university. It's like a whole new world. And we can, become doctors and lawyers and rocket scientists now. And, that requires a doctorate. So it takes a little time. And then you come out of that education and now you are 30 and it's time. and you don't even know yourself yet. You spent so much time studying, you don't even know who you are yet, please. And I'm certainly not the same person I am at, I won't say how old I am, but I am not the same person that I was at 30. That's for sure.
Yeah. I also find it fascinating when I think about people who, there's that movie, The Materialist, coming out this summer, where a girl's going to make a really bad choice and not pick very rich Papa Pascal and instead pick some dude with roommates. And she's a matchmaker, and some part of the preview is her talking to a man, and he's like, I'm just like ready to settle down with someone who's more age appropriate and mature. And she goes, oh, I have the perfect client for you. And she's 33, and his entire face falls. And he's like, well, I didn't mean an age that, and like, you're just waiting for him to say hi. And then they cut to the next thing. And we did an episode about Summer Charm, I'm combining two Bravo shows, Southern Charm, which follows a group of young men in Charleston, South Carolina. And that show revolves around their Peter Pan syndrome. I find that because men don't have the biological pressure that women have, they will just draw out that process of growing up and settling down and building a family until they're like 45. I mean, some of the guys on Southern Charm are getting well into their 40s, if not closer to 50, because they don't have the pressure. So life is just a fun little game, and they have money and they get attention and they have cameras, and they're like, why would I ever settle down? I'm living a high life. And it's so fascinating.
Blame them?
Huh?
I said, can you blame them?
No, honestly, I mean, part of the reason I chose to be child free is because I was like, oh, I've just started to figure out who I am at the ripe young age of 32. I have things to gain in the career that I want. And I love kids, but that's a lot of time and effort.
Right. I think that in my, and we have these ideas of what we're supposed to be at a certain age, and that we need to have our act together by this time so we can do that by that time, et cetera. And the Peter Pan syndrome men of the world, well, one, can you blame them? And two, we let them, right? They are clearly living outside whatever traditional, familial, or cultural pressures there might be on men in other cultures to, hey, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
By the way, here's your wife.
Yeah,
or here's a list of candidates, and you're going to meet them, all of them, this week for interviews. So, like the Peter Pan syndrome, goodness, if I were a man of means, I can't really throw shade, because they must be having so much fun. I can't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, I end up more concerned about the 22-year-olds that they then try to marry, because now you've got a 22-year-old married to a 45-year-old, and she's probably left the house a handful of times to try and figure out what kind of movie she likes in food and whatnot.
Yes. 20-something-year-old women have been married off to 40-something-year-old men, and older for centuries.
Yeah. And I think that...
I think we're more uptight about it now than we used to be.
Well, yes. I will give us that now we do have pause and go, did that? Oh, okay. Yeah, we are more uptight about it. And I mean, and then when you think about that gap between a first marriage, because so many people are married still pretty young. Like, I remember I think my dad said, if I turned 25 and I still wasn't married, he'd give me the money that he was saving for my wedding. And then I said I wanted to go spend a year in Europe or travel or something with that money. And then he was like, when you're 27, I'll give you that money because he didn't want me to leave the country, probably knowing I'd never come back. And but yeah, the idea of me just kind of like hanging around and still dating losers by the time that I was 30 was like, oh, I think everyone around me just assumed, oh, Natalie's never getting married. It's just not happening.
And whether it does or does not, it's your choice.
Right.
Your choice because, well, at least in this conversation, you and I are not in situations where we are forced to marry somebody. It's not an arranged marriage situation we're dealing with. I have had the luxury of choice and you have the luxury of choice. And if you decide that you don't want a husband, you don't have to have one. And you might be happier prolonging your own personal Peter Pan syndrome and utilize what I call the rotation schedule.
Oh, what's the rotation schedule?
The rotation schedule, which is in my book, is a way to enhance your social calendar and date multiple men at a time, not to have 3 secret relationships, but
Yeah.
for dating, you are as if you were the bachelorette and you are basically auditioning suitors.
Yeah.
So the rotation schedule implies that you can have a coffee date in the morning and a lunch date in the afternoon and a cocktail date and a dinner date. I mean, if you really add it up, you've got time to actually sift through quite, many human beings in the course of a month without getting all entangled in it, but just to see if they are worthy of more of your time. And then you add and delete until a winner emerges. Or perhaps you know in your heart that marriage is not for you. And that's okay. It's 2025. You are not required to get married. Maybe some women are happier, and men for that matter, single. Some people are not meant to be married. Some people, it's not a good life for them. It's not a fit. And I admire if we're really getting into it, I really admire the polyamorous households of the world. Cause really that's a concept I really dig. There's a lot to be said for that. There's multiple income streams coming into the household. If that household that is poly has kids, there's always somebody around. There's multiple hands to clean, lots of love. Real love is infinite, not finite. You can't be all things to all people. And I know that I wrote this book, that sounds, very, very conservative. But it's not. And I'm really very open-minded and I can really see the appeal. I dig the appeal of poly situations. In fact, there is a new show called Dr. Odyssey and it's about a cruise ship.
Oh yeah. With Joshua Jackson.
Yes, and there is this love triangle amongst the medical staff, and they are in a throuple, and it's it's juicy, it's spicy. He doesn't want to watch that, but like for poly relationships, like I dig it, I get it, it makes sense. So marriage is up to you. There's no gun to your head. You can freeze some eggs. You can get a sperm donor, you can adopt, you can decide to just have a dog or instead. Like, you've got choices, and marriage is not for everybody because marriage is time consuming. is a commitment. It is an emotional commitment. It is a physical commitment. It is it's a big commitment, and marriage sometimes is not easy. So in an ideal universe, you would, if you decided that you'd like to share your life with a person or two people or three people, okay, let's be open here. But if, let's say, you wanted to, in the traditional sense, marry a person and share your life with that person, and if we're talking about men, okay, we'll say you want to marry a man, then look for somebody who is in alignment with your values, your core values, in line with your cultural dispositions and cultures, because you might think it doesn't matter, but in marriage, things get lost in translation. So it's fine to, if you fall in love with somebody from, the other side of the planet and a different culture and everything, that's beautiful, but it's another hurdle.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that if you share languages and values and culture, it's a little easier. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. It's just there's less of a learning curve there with one another's families and things like that.
If they don't speak a different language, if they speak a different language, or they speak they're from a different culture, or they're from a different religious perspective, like all of those things are big parts of life where there's lots of room for things to get lost in translation.
Yeah.
You go through the years. And so it's I think easier if you have really good communication skills, both people, because that's important, and that you understand the difference between compatibility and chemistry, because people get them confused all the time.
Yeah. So was the rotation the main tool in finding a second husband within 90 days? Was it a lot of online dates or just saying yes to a lot of opportunities?
It's about knowing what you want, putting it in your bio. This is who I am. I'm intelligent, funny, outdoor, whatever it is for you. I like to cook. I like to make reservations, whatever it is. And I'm a movie buff, etc., etc. That's compatibility. I like pina coladas. You like pina coladas. That's compatibility. Chemistry is that undeniable spark.
Mm-hmm.
And that's different. And you got to be really clear about where your chemistry's at as well. Otherwise, you will never be truly happy. And you had asked me if, yes, so in your bio, that is your chance to state who you are and whom you seek. And you must be clear about whom you seek. That is rule number 1. Know what you want. Because once you know what you want, where to find him becomes easier, because every animal has their head.
I will say that when it comes to the apps and things, a well-written profile is the first thing that I look at. Like, did you at least write something that lets me get to know you? Because if your profile is lacking, or if you didn't take time to do at least one of the 2 prompts that they give you or something like that, I go, oh, you're not serious. You're just swiping to swipe. And some people date less seriously than I do. I personally do not have the energy to date like it doesn't matter, to just continue to get dressed and go out and be like, well, maybe this person will be charming once I get there. But I will also say that part of the mind game that is online dating is the actual onus on you to, when you're looking at profiles, make sure that you're honoring exactly what you want. When I was still dating men, we were at a bonfire and a friend asked me, like, she was having troubles with not so serious guys and guys not being serious about her. And I'm a little witchy. So I told her, I go, I wrote it out. And she goes, what do you mean? I go, like, I literally wrote it out. Like, if we're going for perfection, this is it for me in a partner, in a relationship, or whatever. And I got dumped that night because the guy I was seeing was listening and realized he didn't check off. He's like, I'm never going to be that person. This person that you're describing.
Can I tell you that the writing out is the first exercise I give every single client?
Oh, that's lovely, because I really do think that if you write out your wishes, first off, I think that it's really important to always be saying out loud what you want. And I find that in both romance and like literally, like I tell people all the time, well, when I'm an Emmy award winning television writer, it's just more and more manifestation, and you put the energy out and you're going to receive it eventually. So look at that. We're on the same page.
We are literally on the same page. And so, as you can see, I wrote this book as a workbook. This is a humorous self-help workbook with places for you to write in these exercises. Step 1, your dream person. And then space for you, couple of pages to explore what that person is like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did that for husband number 1 and 2, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
All of my clients. And I've gotten a lot of people happily married. I mean, they went on to have kids and they're still married 20 years later. And like, you got to, yeah, step 1 is know what you want. I'm a little witchy too. So I like, what do you want for your own life? And then separate piece of paper. What is your dream person like? And then when you're in the process of the rotation schedule, because you are a free woman until there's a ring on it, or until you change 3 rings and you're in a poly, but whatever, until you're in a committed relationship formally, you're a free agent.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can add and delete throughout the week until a winner emerges, or you can decide that you're not getting married, you're not the marrying kind, it's not what makes you happy, and you're just going to have friendships. That you are entitled to have lovers that you don't, that you don't get legally attached to, and like, some men, they love to go out. They love to take you out around the town. They know all of the restaurants. They know all of the managers of every single restaurant. They can always get a reservation. They like to eat. They like to drink. The Uno files, if you like wine, there's somebody for you that likes to drink wine, that likes to go to tastings, that keeps a professional cellar in his apartment. Those men exist. Or the man that you absolutely should never consider married, but he's a fabulous dancer. I mean,
yeah.
Right? So, like,
yeah, there's a person for every season.
Yes. So Monday could be, dining out day, and Wednesday could be gym day or dancing day, and Saturday could be like out to the movies or the theater, your cultural fix day. So depending on, because you can't be all things to all people, but sometimes you find these guys that don't fit the whole package of what you're looking for, but they are super cool, they're fun, they're smart, they make you laugh. They are your favorite person to eat with, or they are your favorite person to go to the theater with, or see a movie with, or go to the gym with. You love to work out with them, but you don't think that you can face 50 years together.
Yeah. I think where I fell short and where I see a lot of my friends falling short too is when you are dating and you have the clear picture in your mind of what you want. I think that because of the biological and societal and sometimes family or friend pressure, like to not be the last single one or the last girl standing or whatever, is
societal patriarchal BS.
Yes, all of that bullshit is is I, as a plus size woman who has often been told that she's funny, but she's a little loud and a little too much, I would just go, well, maybe he's not what I,
too much. He's not enough.
yeah, honestly. I'd go, well, he doesn't meet all of my requirements. And there's even a couple of big ones that are different than what I would want or missing. But, he's probably just dull enough or not as he's not going to get off this app any quicker than I'm going to get off this app. So what the hell? But I really do think that like part of the patriarchy and part of that pressure that we're always under is making sure that we're always in a scarcity mindset and willing to settle.
Yes, see, yes. So I know exactly what you're saying. You don't want to be the last bridesmaid standing in your pack of gal pals. You don't, that people are saying if you wait too long, it'll be too late. And if you wait any longer, then they'll be already divorced and already have children, and then they come with baggage, or like there's always these excuses, right? Or, oh, well, once they're, the age of retirement, after 2 wives, they don't want number 3, or, you won't find the right person who's smart enough or who is competent enough, or, oh my God, we get pressured, or you don't want to wait too long to make babies, or, oh my God, I mean, or, oh, the parents like him, but you're not feeling that spark.
Yeah.
So, the spark is a requirement too, because compatibility and chemistry are not the same thing. Oh, and I tell my clients who are going through the rotation schedule and on the other exercises of being the best version of themselves and being clear about whom they wish to attract, to wear your ancestral jewelry.
Oh, what does that mean?
Like, I'm a little witchy too, so I would wear like my great grandmother's wedding ring and like, pearls from another aunt, and, married women wear the jewelry of married relatives of your matriarchal ancestors.
That's so funny. When my aunt was going through her first divorce, my uncle would leave jewelry in the mailbox for her in his weaker take me back moments. And she would save it for when I was coming to visit. And then she'd be like, do you want these diamond earrings that your uncle dropped off? And I'd go, no, I don't. Those have to be cursed. Why would I want your bad romance jewelry? And she's like, well, I don't want them. I don't want him seeing me wearing them at the shop and save or whatever and thinking he has a chance. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess we pawn them. Or we get them blessed by a healer or a witch or something. I don't know. We have to cleanse them under.
I wore my grandmother's diamond. I wore my great grandmother's diamond. I wore, like a pearl necklace from my mom. Like, I wore things from the matriarchy of my family, of women who were married, happy-ish here and there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be the biggest problem of my ancestral jewelry is we don't have the greatest track record with marriages. I'd have to be really picky about what I put on. But I do.
Usually better. Like, I had a grandmother and she got married a second time. Totally in love with the second husband. So, definitely I wore that ring in the mix.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it just, like I'm a little witchy that way, right? I believe that you can like talk to your matriarchal ancestors and they will come to your aid. They will help you.
Yeah. No, my grandmother and grandfather are currently overlooking on my altar the script of the sitcom that I wrote about our family. And I was like, but keep out of the love life. Like I've got that settled. But if you could send me more memories that I can turn into comedy, I'd really enjoy that. But yeah, I love that. I do because I do. It adds such a personal touch. When you said ancestral jewelry, I literally thought, and then you went to because I'm a little witchy. I literally thought that you meant like wearing things that represent who you are, both past, present, and future. Like with that guy who dumped me after I was like, oh yeah, I wrote it all out and it had things like but, and then he was like, couldn't ever be me. We met in this fucked up scenario where we were doing like fake Love is Blind on Zoom during the quarantine for entertainment purposes.
Oh my.
And right. And because it was a blind date and I was literally just talking to a black box on a screen, there was no reason for me to put on aims or to filter myself or anything. So to me, when I arrived on, in-person date one, I was like, he's got the whole thing and he's bought into it because I just kept talking and he was laughing and he was into it. Later on down the road, he thought, I didn't realize that those were your actual personality traits. I thought that you were doing a running bit. And I was like, oh, no, I'm just really funny. No.
This is it. This is what you get. It wasn't fact. This is it. I'm always a running bit. I'm a walking running bit.
I'm a walking running bit. Like, I was like, no, I believe in ghosts and crystals and I love the music of Stevie Nicks and I talk to the animals at the zoo because I love animals and I learn their names. Like, I go, it wasn't like completely off the wall nuts, but it was just nuts enough. And I was just funny enough that he was a walking insecurity everywhere that we went. But I didn't end that relationship when I should have because the older women in my life and the other women in my life kept telling me, like, he's not doing anything so terrible that it has to end. Like, and I feel like we also get into that, like, sunk cost fallacy where it's like, well, if I've survived 2 weeks, I can survive 3. If I've survived 3 weeks, I can do a couple of months. Like, maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Like when your mother takes the side of your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Or your husband.
And she's like, I understand that you're labeling this as narcissistic emotional abuse, Natalie, but I have to say that he did bring you over a family bag of Skittles. And I think that that means he's sorry, even if he can't say it out loud.
Yeah. Well, like when my mom like sides with my husband, I'm like,
and I've had to learn such empathy about women who are older than me because I'm like, well, my grandmother couldn't have a credit card and my great aunt never learned how to drive. And so they really did rely on these men in my family and they relied on them for a lot of things. So I understand if they're just looking at me being like, I don't know, he has a job. Okay. He could not have a job and you could be stuck with him.
Different mindset from a different generation. And yes, if we go back just 4 generations, maybe 5, depending on your social class, whatever, what are the chances that 5 generations ago your matriarchal figure could read?
Honestly.
So then, yeah, you're kind of stuck dependent on a man. And if you can't drive and you can't vote and you can't do this and you can't do that, then yeah, you kind of need a man. You need a man for protection because we don't have the muscle mass that men do, generally speaking, unless you're an Olympic athlete, whatever. But like, generally speaking, if we go back through the ages, yeah, you needed the manpower, literally, to, I don't know, kill dinner and protect you from, the neighboring village. I don't know.
And I think what I noticed when I see women entering into a second marriage or even entering into that phase between their first marriage and the divorce and all of that is because you are naturally older and now you do have all of these memories of the things that you did not appreciate in your first marriage. You do find a little bit more confidence and oomph to really stand up and get after what you want.
Yes. And, as women, we do a lot of compromising. We do a lot of twisting ourselves inside out for the approval of others. And you get to a certain age and you're not going to do it anymore. You can't. You're not having it. At a certain age, you're like, I'm not putting up with any more BS, period. And you finally kind of know who you are and your boundaries and your standards and your limits and to come full circle, right? It was only during the pandemic I was like, well, if the world is coming to an end, I am going to take this opportunity to finally do the thing that I always wanted to do. So, I mean, I'm theater trained, I sing, dance, I was a triple threat. I did off Broadway, like some plays, some voiceovers, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was film and television. Well, I spent my 30s and my 40s, not just as everybody's guest expert in lifestyle dilemmas, but as a host as well, a host, a journalist, a correspondent. And I was like, yeah, this is fun, but I want to try to do the thing that I always wanted to do, because when I said I wanted to be Miss America, the parents said, no, nice Jewish girls are not pageant queens. Or I would get, no, you're a girl, so you don't have to go to Hebrew school. We don't need to pay for you to go to Hebrew school because you're a girl. It doesn't matter. Like, when do I matter? When do I matter? Oh, I would like to, I want to go and audition and I want to be an actress one day. And no, your job is to go to Harvard and become a lawyer or, whatever it is. And because I was a woman, the idea of fine arts was entertained. Like, that could be okay as long as I go to a decent school to do it, whatever. The thing that I always wanted to do was act for film and television. So finally, it took the world coming to an end to be like, okay, all right, the rent is paid. I'm not going to be on the street if I don't go to work next week. So I'm going to go back to school instead. And I spoke to my husband about it. I was like, I need your support with this. I need support with this. And this is what I want to do. And
it's so funny doing all of the screenwriting stuff. And because I'm a type A Capricorn, I've always been the person who's like, I can work smarter and never harder, but I can make it look like I'm working hard the entire time. And with screenwriting and acting and things like that, you do so much work, never knowing if it's going to pay off. Like, will this be it? Will this be it? Will this be it? So thank God it's something that we love, or else my brain would shut down and be like, and that's how I know I love it, because I haven't quit yet.
yes. Sometimes we get the role and sometimes we don't, but I love creating the characters. I love creating all these people and seeing inside the psyche of all of these fictitious people also reminds me to add in, I think, an important ingredient in the dating process, which is, one, to have a sense of humor, because honey, you're going to need it.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to need it. And two, every date, whether it's a love connection or not, okay, assume that it won't be going in, but be open to, you never know, but most importantly, especially in this age of text and Zoom and never really seeing people in person anymore, when you finally have a blind date with a real live human being, and they are across the coffee table from you, or having a glass of wine with you, or dinner date, whatever it is, it's an actual human being who's also taken time out of their life to come and meet you, because they're interested in meeting you. And even if it does not evolve into a love connection, you meet them, you see them, you're not interested. But before you just, sit there and roll your eyes, connect with the human being. You have an opportunity to make a new friend, to make a new contact. Who knows? Maybe you'll buy your next apartment from them. Well, you never know. Like, an opportunity to meet another human being and connect with that other human being and explore them. Ooh, who are you, human? What do you do? Where have you been? Like, what does your life look like? And honor that you are getting to connect with another human, whether they're gonna, click with you or not. Maybe just, they're not your cup of tea, but that doesn't mean that you can't have an interesting conversation. Doesn't mean you can't have a laugh. Doesn't mean that you can't enjoy a good glass of wine together and part as, friends, or make a new contact because, oh, you're a florist. Oh, that is cool. Or you're what? A chef or what, like everybody has something that they do that's useful to you. But maybe they make you laugh. Maybe you have an interesting conversation and, finish the bottle and you part ways, and that's okay. So, I'm saying don't sit there with your arms crossed, rolling your eyes, the poor guy, right? Like he carved time out of his schedule to come and meet you. Like he's at least hoping for a polite, civilized chat.
Yeah, I do think that part of online dating is the exhaustion of it, especially if you're living in an area like I do where it's small and it's Midwestern and it's conservative and it's all of it. And just like, well, and to add another layer of it, I'm queer. So it's like your pool for dating just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So, I mean, those apps, I think sometimes play into the scarcity mindset for women. But then I think for men, I've witnessed the opposite where they just think like, oh, well, I have all of the choices in the world.
Yeah, right.
No.
Yes, you're right. I mean, it's true. Men come at it from a different mindset because, like we said in the beginning of the conversation, men are encouraged to roam and conquer.
Yeah. Well, and they're so used to getting exactly what they want and when they want it too. And I don't mean that like their mothers failed them by spoiling them or anything. I mean that society and everything that we go through every day is designed to cater to them in some way.
They're used to getting their way. They're used to having multiple wives or multiple mistresses or a wife and a mistress or whatever combo amuses them. Men are encouraged to do that, and we laugh, men behaving badly, whatever. But it does because they are coming at life from a standpoint of abundance.
Yeah.
And women are always traumatized going into life thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
At everything.
Yeah. And I think that that's why so many women who are older than me say things like, is it that bad when you're on the verge of breaking up with someone? Did your family have like a notable response to your first divorce? Because every breakup I've ever gone through, someone has had to say, I don't know, are you being hasty?
My divorce. I'm trying to think back. So my first husband had a drinking problem. And I think that I chose not to notice or chose not to be as alarmed or take it as seriously as I should have sooner. But he was the kind of alcoholic where you couldn't even tell. Years to even notice the tells.
Yeah.
And I think got to a point where, I don't know, the market crashed and everything became too much for him. And so I don't, to this day, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I know that, a person with an alcohol addiction is a fragile person. And you know, people were very sad. I think my mother spoke to him. My aunt spoke to him. My aunt continued to speak to him after we're divorced. With the thing I noticed about our patriarchal system is that, you know, we told our friends, you know, we're still both your friends, right? We decided not to split up the children kind of thing, right? But like overnight, all those people that he was associated with disappeared from my life.
Oh.
And once I didn't have the, you know, the cool marital plush pad and the parties and the whatever, and I wasn't married anymore, all of those married couples that we used to, you know, wine and dine with, crickets.
Yeah.
And you know, people disappear. It's interesting how people disappear when the chips are down.
Yeah. Well, and the way that I've seen that play out too is, and I've experienced it firsthand, where it's like, because women societally are given a caregiver role, it always becomes like, well, you're going to leave him now while he's struggling. And it's like a shame component. And it's like, you're just going against your nature and you're going to call it quits now and be selfish. And I think we don't take into consideration like the weight of that on women and the cost that it costs years, it costs health, all of it.
Yes. My divorce led to me having a heart attack.
Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly,
you can die of a broken heart. Moral of the story. So have a big sense of humor because you're gonna.
But yeah, I do. I think that part of the beauty of either waiting until you're older to get married or having that second marriage is that kind of fuck off attitude that happens in your 30s. It happened overnight for me. I was 29 one day and then a raving bitch the next day who would only do things her way and said, fuck this to all of the expectations that were placed upon me. And it's only gotten considerably worse every year.
Because every year that we are on this planet, we become more and more evolved into who we are.
Exactly.
But and who we are is imprinted by age 5.
Yeah.
We just have all these years and decades to perfect and develop who we are. But in some ways, your essence, if you will, is the same as your 5-year-old self.
Well, yeah. I hope 5.
Just now times 10.
Times 10. And I think that there's such a beauty in stepping into one's ownness. And I hope that as we move on, I mean, I lost a ton of friends when I started reconfiguring boundaries and priorities to me and started to get more active in things like feminism and women's rights and legislation with that and doing the show and stuff. I've lost a ton of friends. And I think they were all blindsided. Like I somehow betrayed them instead of just we didn't grow in the same ways. And I think as women, like, we take a lot of shame and guilt on when it comes to any type of relationship not working out. It devastates me every time I have a girlfriend break up.
Oh, right, because somehow it's our fault, right?
Yeah.
We've got, right, no matter what happens, it's our fault. It's a lack of, it's a scarcity. It's, I could have done a better job. Oh my God, it's my fault. Guilt, guilt, guilt. It's my job to fix it. It's my job to smooth it over. It's my job to iron out the wrinkles. It's my job to make nice. It's my job to like be nice. It's
Yeah. A friend and I were just talking about that in the car on our way to lunch, where it's like, no wonder as time goes on, women are getting more and more autoimmune disorders. We're stressed all the time. Like, so many chemicals just pulsing through our body all the time, as we're meant to be everyone's nurse, mother, sex doll, and preacher. Like,
I mean, so I had this experience when I was a kid. We went to the park and I was with my dad, and I wanted to climb on the jungle gym. I went to go, and he was like busy playing ball with my little brother or something, but I went to go and like climb on the jungle gym. And I got to the jungle gym, and there were some boys on the jungle gym, and they didn't want to let me play on the jungle. And they said, go away. And I said, but I want to climb the jungle gym. And they said, no, you can't. You can't climb the big one on the big ones, and because you're a girl. Like, what? This is some BS. And I was like, I'm going to tell my dad. I went running across the playground, and I told my father, and I said, I want to climb the jungle gym, and boys won't let me. And they said that I couldn't go there and climb because I'm a girl. Like, Dad, go straighten this out.
yeah.
Like, that's what I expected him to do. I expected him to defend my honor, cross the park with me, and say, hey guys, let her climb. That's what I expected. I expected that. What I got was, oh, those are big boys. It's for boys. Let the big boys play alone on the big monkey bars. You could go over there and play on the little whatever the hell it was, right? I was so pissed off. Like, at that moment, that was the moment that my father was no longer my hero.
Well, yeah,
moment.
I think it would be amazing to know how many women have a similar story where it's like, I look to you to affirm my worthiness in my own situation.
To protect me.
And to validate me, and to say that my choices are good choices and my desires are something that should be taken seriously. And instead, defend my honor. And instead, I was told,
you're a girl.
Stop causing wrinkles.
It's for big boys. Right.
Yeah.
I was scandalized.
So much drama.
So much drama. And so, to this day, like, that sits with me. Like, that affected how I went into the world. Like, that was the first seed of rage. The first seed of indignant rage was planted.
Yeah. Well, it's the opening of He's Just Not That Into You, where the little girl comes over crying because a boy pushed her down, and her mom goes, it's okay, sweetie. He just likes you. And then it pauses, and Jennifer Goodwin just starts screaming. She's like, who tells us this and why?
Right. So if the guy pushes you, it's because he loves you. What kind of sick poison is that?
Yeah. Boys don't know how to like people, so instead they just push you.
So it's okay to give a woman a black eye and then tell her you love her. That's the same logic, right?
Yeah. Honestly. And then they wonder.
if we follow that train of logic, that's what we're really talking about. We're talking,
Right.
oh, well, boys can be violent and it's okay. It's because we love you to show you attention. My God. I mean, think about it. It's like frightening.
I'm going to go ahead and move us into our closing ceremony. We like to wrap up every episode with a lesson that you wish everyone would know and follow, and then a manifestation, so a wish or desire that we can all add our collective energy into. So if there's one thing everyone should walk around knowing every day about anything that you experience during your divorce or writing 90 Days to Husband number 2 or the rotation cycle or any of it, what would you like everyone to know?
Believe in yourself even when it's not easy. Love yourself. And yes, love yourself. You are worthy. Have standards and boundaries. Do not settle for less than you deserve.
Your wants, your desires, and the life that you want to live is valid. And I don't think we hear it as much, especially in like late stage capitalism, where we're all just supposed to be hitting rocks for billionaires and clapping when they go to space. I'll clap when they start leaving them up in space. I'll be like, yay, you made it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I do not believing yourself. You are worthy. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Take care of yourself. So yeah, that's the thing that I love yourself. That's the thing that I wish I could give.
And then what would you like to manifest?
What I would like to manifest for me or for womankind?
Both, either or.
My own selfish desires is that everybody buy a copy of my book. And that all of the auditioning and the studying and the hard work leads to like the next really juicy role that I can sink my teeth into. So success in my new career is my selfish manifestation wish for self. What I wish for the sisterhood out there, what I wish for humanity is more love, more sensitivity, more of an open mind, and better communication skills.
Yeah, honestly. Honestly, every time I complain about something that I notice in someone else's marriage, my friend Julia Washington, friend of the podcast, who's been on here a bunch, will go, it's because they're lacking in communication. And that would have been fixed if they had just communicated. Well, Samantha, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today and for coming on. I've really appreciated getting to know you, and I can't wait for the day that you email me and you tell me that you booked that role.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I know that you are a brilliant comedy writer, and who knows, maybe one day in the future, I will have the great honor to audition for you.
Why, thank you. Let the listeners know where they can purchase your book and connect with you.
So my book, 90 Days to Husband Number 2, 10 Rules to Find Him, is available on Amazon, and you can get it in Kindle, you can get it in paperback or hardcover like this one. And hopefully soon it will be an app, and digital course that I am developing. But meanwhile, I do accept private clients at samantha@socialimage.net.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for being here. And tolerators, you know where to find us. It's Men I've Tolerated Pod on Instagram, Natalie K124 on TikTok, and to all the men I've tolerated before on YouTube in case TikTok goes away.
Thank you so much for having me, Natalie.
No problem. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, tolerators, you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating, including a lot of societal and biological pressures that make you think that the boundaries and the goals and the desires that you have in a partner don't matter and are easy to push off just to make everyone else happy. Smiles are for joy.